Hey, how's everybody? I've been studying Bible prophecy off and on since 1993. My first encounter with it was when I had a dream, and that dream was uh, so real. A lot of y'all out there probably have what is called sleep apnea. Well, I had sleep apnea really bad, where I have experiences like I was dying in my sleep, and you could tell you try to force yourself awake. But anyway, I was homeless at the time, and I snuck outside of my barracks that I was stationed in when I was in the army, and I was sleeping outside. And one of the strange coincidences is I was mad at God because I was homeless. Go figure. But I told God, I said, because I wanted to go to the shelter to eat. I said, if you, God, wake me up at such and such o'clock. And then I went to sleep. And then I had the dream. And then he woke me up at 6:30 exactly to walk, well, 6 o'clock to walk over to the shelter. And I actually walked over there and got some nice breakfast, probably one of my best breakfasts. Anyway, so I had the dream, and I had in the dream I was having convulsions because I can feel myself have convulsions, and I can see this image coming down, and it just hit. I can't tell what it was. It just one hit object hit the other object and smashed it. So later on that day, I was confused and I was baffled by the dream. And I was like, what does that mean? So I went to the library, because, hanging out at the library, a lot of homeless people hang out at the library. And I looked, and I read the Bible. I guess I had a Bible with me, and I ran into Daniel chapter 2. And if y'all familiar with Daniel chapter 2, Daniel told Nebuchadnezzar that your country will be smashed in the future, or world government, excuse me, will be smashed in the future by the Messiah, Jesus Christ. So at the time I was at the library, I asked God, what does that mean? And the word came up to me, climax. So a climax. So I picked up the dictionary and I looked up climax, and it means the end. And then God told me in a still small voice, you will be here at the end, and you will have a voice. Okay. Um, so I'm here, and here I am. So another dream that I had in that time frame was, it was almost like I was laying down. I was laying down in my bed, sleep, and it was the daytime. I guess I was taking a nap, and my whole body was like I was being raptured, like I got translated up, and I couldn't see nothing. It was black, but my body it just rose up in the air, and I can feel myself going in the air, and boom, I landed and I woke up, and that was it. I'll probably say, well, there was no message there. You don't need a message for that one, okay? And at this time, as I started reading the Bible, and I went home. I went home to my mom, to live with my mom for a minute and my family, and I wanted to come back out west. So I went back to Michigan. So I was all of that. I was in Washington State when I was homeless, but then I came back to Michigan, and I was drinking and doing my thing, just doing whatever. And I went to the Plaza Bank to get some more money for beer. So I'm sitting in the waiting room, and this guy comes in here. He sits in front of me, and he bends over like this. So he starts talking to me. He's like, "Oh, how you doing, man?" And he didn't say he was from a church or nothing. He didn't say anything. So I'm sitting up there, talking to him, and he says, "What is your plans for the future?" So I said I was gonna go out west. He said, "How much money you got in your pocket?" "About 250." So I said, "Okay." So he said, "Okay." So he says, "Why don't you do this? Why don't you go pray about it, and you read Philippians 1:6." So I go home and I pray, and I read Philippians 1:6. um, I'm going to go ahead and read it to you guys, Philippians 1:6. So Philippians 1:6 says, being confident of this very thing, that he which hath begun a good work in you will perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. Wow. Wow. So I prayed and the message came to me, go rejoin the army. So I rejoined the army, and then I go off to Fort Leonard Wood, which I was at basic training in Fort Leonard Wood a couple of years ago. So I went back there, get ready to go to and then the guy come up to me and say, you're going to Germany. And then I said, okay, I'm looking forward to going to Germany. And then a couple of days later, another guy come up to me and say, you're going to Hawaii. I was like, Hawaii? Wow, how did Germany to Hawaii? Okay, that's good. Okay, I'll do that. So, all those guys were like, oh man, how did you get so lucky? Anyway, so make a long story short, I ended up going to Hawaii. And the first thing happened to me is a brother named Steve, go figure, from the book of Acts, but a brother named Steve, very nice gentleman, came to the welcome center. He's walking in the barracks and he knocked on my door. He said, hey man, my name is Steve. I'm from the Potter's House Church and blah, blah, blah. And then he said, if you die tonight, where will you go? And I said, probably hell. And he said, would you like to pray and ask Jesus Christ? And at that point, I prayed and asked Jesus Christ into my heart, into my life. Ever since then, it was following God. But let me tell y'all about another dream I had that was bad. I had a dream, and it felt like something was on my, I was asleep. And I still have sleep apnea. Matter of fact, at that time I was drinking Diet Pepsi really bad. So that really irritates. That can kill you, the aspartame in there. Anyway, I'm sitting there sleeping. The devil don't want you following God, especially when I was a member of On Fire for God church. They street preaching and they witnessing and they bringing people to church, and we were doing that. And I was talking to everybody in my unit about Jesus Christ. So I was getting attacked sexually. I was getting attacked by the devil. So this thing, I don't want to seem so verbal or visual, but it was on my face. And then I woke up. I was like so scared. I was like, oh my God, I just got attacked by a demon. It had to be. God ain't gonna attack me like that. So, those were the only dreams I've ever had. And then I had one a little bit later, and it was about Syria. God said that a lot of the end time stuff will start in Syria. Then I had some visions, or premonitions that America will be injured badly by North Korea. And other than that, some of the stuff that happened to me after that, like my wife dreamed that a snake was around my neck trying to choke me. And a little bit later, my neighbor, not now, she's a long time ago, a couple of years ago, she was threatening my life. I'm gonna kill you and stuff like that. So we had to get a restraining order and all that other stuff. And we had to take her to court to get that restraining order. And my wife also, unfortunately, dreamed about, yes, sir. My wife also dreamed about me and her was walking. I don't know if she said a dog or not. I'm gonna ask her when I go to the house. But we were walking, and she said this giant box lit up the sky, and it was kind of like got lights around it. And then she said she heard a trumpet call, and then I got taken up, and she got left behind. I told her that's nothing to brag about. So but I mean, even my son had a dream. If you go on my but I don't believe in all this dream stuff. I believe it because they say your young man should dream dreams and your old man should see visions, or vice versa. I believe that. I believe that dreams will be in the end times. I just don't think God's gonna give me dreams that frequent. So yeah, I've had dreams in my life. But what God is trying to get me to do now is He's trying to get me to get back to warn people, but He's also trying to get me to get people to understand the importance of getting ready for Christ's return, and prior to Christ's return, walking like Jesus walked, the way Jesus will want us to walk. A lot of people believe that, we have addictions, and they believe that they have to fight these addictions alone. No, God is with you. He wants to set you free. Who the Son sets free is free indeed. Jesus wants to instill the power of God inside of you. And right now, it sounds like this is just in the modern day church. What I'm saying is opposite of what the modern day church is preaching. They tell you that God loves you and he's going to be with you when you do this or when you struggle with this. No, he wants to break you from it. Um so when the rapture happens, many Christians are going to be surprised um at Jesus' coming, because their pastors wouldn't telling them that Christ was going to return, because the pastors did not know, because what the pastors were doing, they were following their institutions. They were following their denominations. They were following specific writers of books and methods and things and traditions of their fathers. And they were not reading the Bible. They were not saying, okay, what is the Bible saying to me, instead of what is everybody else saying? And what the Bible is saying is that it gives specific time. It gives a specific time of things that will be happening. And like I said in the video, Israel becoming a nation marked the beginning of a generation. So you know, that this coronavirus brought people to come out of their slumber, temporarily at least, to say, "Oh, this is uh, this something's going on here." And a lot of the mainstream media and the government officials and the scientists are saying we're never going to go back the same. The world is not going to be the same. And if that's the case, then shouldn't Christians be taking the end of the book of Revelations? Because what I feel people are doing, for the last, at least since I've been going to church, is they do not read book of Revelations because it's too controversial. If it's too controversial, you should ask God to be down for you and say, God, pastor should say, God, what does this mean? Let me know so I can tell my congregation. And if people leave, that's fine. Jesus said to people, he said, don't eat of my blood and flesh. You're not worthy of me. What the world are you talking about, Lord? Eat of my flesh and drink of my blood. Well, he was talking about, as far as loving the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, being that close to God. God gave typologies in the Bible where he's saying that, like he said, for instance, if you're willing to, if you want to go to heaven and your right arm causes you to sin, cut it off. If your right eye causes you to sin, pluck it out. And he didn't mean that literally, because then you'd be doing damage to yourself. That would be unchristian-like. But what he was saying is the urgency, the willingness to stop the sin. Come to me, all ye of heavy laden, and I will you rest. God will set you free if you come to him and you have addictions. He will set you free. Well, anyway, I've spoken too much. I said I was going to keep these videos under a certain amount of time. So God bless you guys. I'm going to be doing these videos all the time, until we go home. And if Christ comes back 2024 at the rapture, or 2020, people, one more thing I want to say before I go. Denial of the rapture of the church. Denial of the rapture of the church goes in line with the apostasy today. And I want to, every time I talk about the rapture of the church and someone comes on and says there is no rapture, I'm going to say that we are in apostasy, and of course there is no rapture, because an apostasy means turning from the original gospel. Galatians chapter 1 verse 10, I believe it is. It says, if anybody preach any other gospel than the gospel that we have received, he is accursed. So, for instance, they say John Dirk created the rapture theory. Well, I got a Bible that's 2,000 years, well, not 2,000, well, sort of two, actually it's 6,000 years. The printing presses didn't come out in 100 years ago. Anyway, I got a Bible that tells me, well, I don't know no John Darby. If I picked up the Bible right now and I didn't know nothing about John Darby, I would still see the rapture of the church. Now, let me explain something to you guys. Hindsight is 20. You don't want hindsight to be 2020 if you miss the rapture. That means you there. That's what hindsight 2020 means. You're there to see it. Like if I, like me and my kids, we plan a trip and or they go to camp, say they go to camp and they say, well, they can swim, we can eat this, we can do this, we can barbecue, we can have a little dance. And they say, oh man, that's what I heard from last year. Okay, so they go, then they find out for themselves. Hindsight is, yeah, we said that back there, but it was more than just that. We had a really good time. And I guess the thing is that if you say there is no rapture, there is no rapture. And if you don't believe me, I believe it's Mark 14, verse 16. It's a banquet, and the owner of the king, and another version of another gospel is he's a king, but he's the owner of the banquet, and he invites people out. He sends his people out to get, go invite them, and they start making excuses. This person said, I have to go bury my, father. Of course, that comes from, so it says, that's not that one. It's oxen, take care of your wife, take care of your business. And that's the excuses that they made. And then another, my father, and that's general about following Jesus. So they started making excuses. So somebody came up to me and said, well, he's talking to the Jewish people. Well, the Jewish people at that time were rejecting Jesus anyway. So, and I'll talk about that in another video. So these people were rejecting Jesus, right? So he says, go out and invite some more people out. And they go invite them, and then they come and they say the door's shut. And it's gonna be weeping in the teeth. 5 were ready to go in, but 5 wasn't. 5 had oil extra. What's the extra oil? The extra oil is, okay, I see Jesus Christ is coming back. Let me go get ready. Let me get ready. Let me put, like Esther, let me put my stuff on and let's put the oils on her and let's put the dress on and go to the doctor, get examinations, right? Well, my mom, she was getting my grandniece, my niece out of the car. And she bumped herself and she felt a lump there. And so she was able to feel that lump. And the doctor went and he did an examination and they cut that out. Come and you say, I'm sorry, Lord, for doing this and doing that. Well, he can fight those battles so he can eliminate the addictions that easily beset us and let us win this race. I mean, I don't know if it's this year, next year, 4 years from here. But I'm going to tell y'all this, every day is awesome with the Lord. There's a peace of heart, peace of mind. He's the Prince of Peace. He wants to bring you closure to heal. I'll stay in touch. If you like this, like it at the bottom. Please like it, subscribe to my channel so you can hear more content. God bless y'all. Y'all have a wonderful day. See y'all later.